Welcome in. Welcome to the Premier Mindset by Premier Performance LLC. I'm your host, Trent Mailer, LCSW, and this is episode 17. We have information in our show notes. Anything you're looking for, check there first. If you're looking for visuals or links to anything, that will be a spot where I will either designate where to find them or put it there just so you can find it there. So make sure to check that out. There's a lot of information in there in terms of just what the episode's going to be about, and also where to find these things if you're looking for stuff that we have talked about in the episode. If there are things you want more of, whether that be links to research or certain things that I have talked about and you want more details or access to it, let me know, and that's probably where I'll put them so you can have access to it and check those things out. We also have videos of the episodes on YouTube and Spotify. If you do want to see the visuals of it, make sure to check it out there. I will share clips on the social media accounts so that you can see little bite-sized pieces of the podcast as it's coming out and little parts of it, because I want you guys to get access to all the tools involved, even if you don't listen to the whole episode. But, of course, if you listen to the whole episode, you'll get everything. And the podcast itself is available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. If you would like it anywhere else, let me know, and I'll get it there. That's totally fine with me. I want to have it everywhere you guys are listening and linking into. So make sure to let me know if there's anywhere that it's missing, and I'll get it put up there as well. With all that in mind, please leave us a review. Let us know what you think. Like us, follow us, favorite, subscribe. Make sure to get this content as it's coming out and be aware of it. Hit that bell on YouTube so you get notified when these things come out. Just want to make sure you guys get access to all of it as it's coming, because I am putting it out there to kind of spread that general awareness, and the more people I can reach, the better. So if you guys want to jump in and do all that stuff, that would be awesome. It would really help us out with our mission. We'd really appreciate that. This episode's a great one for a lot of people that could use help but not sure what kind of help they may need. We're going to be focusing on, the stories we live by and the narratives that we live our life by. So if you find people in your life that are living by narratives that aren't really serving them, they're causing more issues for them than they're solving, belief systems about themselves, such as not being good enough, not putting themselves out there, not giving themselves a chance in general with life, this is a great episode for people to show themselves that you can change that narrative and set themselves up for a better life. And you may find some people in your life get a lot from it. So if you find anybody that could be struggling with those things or might need a little help figuring out where they're at, make sure to send it their way and see if they do get anything from it. We want to just get this out to as many people as we can and help people out even from afar. But with that in mind, it's also not a replacement for therapy or medical treatment. It's purely educational. So we're putting this out there to help educate the public and spread awareness of this stuff, help you guys get to work and start the journey. But if there are things we need, we got to go get them. It's not going to be enough well-rounded or tailored to you specifically as therapy or medical treatment may be if that is what you need. So make sure to get what you need. That's most important. That's a big core self-care piece, taking care of you. So let's make sure to do that. I make it a point to give you guys actionable tools to find success in your life, and it's all evidence-based. They're not just random things we're trying out, hoping it works. It's all been researched in various ways, and I want to make sure the stuff I'm giving you does work. So check it out, see what happens, see if you like it. If you don't, that's totally fine. But we want to find out what fits for you, and sometimes the only way to see if something fits is to try it on. So give it a shot. If you have anything to let me know about, whether it is updates about things, reaching out because you want more things, you need help with something, there's a lot of different ways you can reach out to us. You can email to reach out at tmailer@premierperformancereno.com. My last name spelled Mahler. You could text or call me directly at 775-561-0056. We have the Instagram and the TikTok with the same name, Premier_Performance_Reno. And then the Facebook page and the LinkedIn page with the same name, Premier Performance LLC, for both of those. So make sure to jump on board, get locked in with all these. We would love to have you join the community, but we're just going to keep spreading this stuff and putting it out there. And if you're on all these accounts, you'll be sure to get them, and you'll be able to engage and interact with me if you would like. So like I said earlier, we are jumping into the stories we tell, the narratives we live our life by. We don't really think about it that much, and this is why I want to focus this episode on it, is we kind of just get caught up in the flow of life and just doing things. And sometimes we really got to slow down and take care of us and understand what may be impacting our journey so far and helping us reach that success or even holding us back from that success. But first, let's jump into our brain activity. Our brain activity today is called Hero Story. What I want you to do is write a story down of yourself as a hero in the story. You could have superpowers, any characteristics you want. You can look however you want, act however you want, whatever it is. You can totally make it up. It doesn't have to have any tie to you if you don't want to. You just want it to be you. So you want that in your mind as you're doing this, but you have total freedom with however you want to create this hero. So create a hero as yourself, and I want you to include yourself in the story, not as you are, but as you want to be, your ideal self. Okay, so where you would like to be, not where you are right this second. I want you to be the hero of this story, and I want you to play it out. It could be just like 3-4 sentences. It doesn't have to be much. It could be a whole, like, multiple page book if you wanted to. Go in depth with it as much as you'd like, but I want you to really focus on just like that hero version of you, what that looks like, and writing a story about it. Okay? So take that time, reflect on that, really give yourself a chance to write that down. If you need to pause the episode and then just do that, see how it feels, see how long it takes. It might take you 15, 20 minutes. And then you can jump back in from there and we'll get back into why we're doing this. But I want you guys to get a chance to give that a shot. So, go give that a shot, reflect on it, create that hero story, see what comes out of it, see what you think. With that, the reason we're doing this is we're helping our brain look at a narrative or a story that is different than the story we're living nowadays. When we live in that superhero kind of mindset, we allow ourselves to entertain ideas or to do things that we would want to do, but maybe we're scared to do. So seeing this stuff play out and seeing yourself at the core of that story can maybe give ourselves a little inkling of maybe I can change things in my life, or maybe I have more power here than I thought. It might be fun. It might just feel good. It might be insightful. You might realize certain things about yourself of where you want to be and what would that ideal self be if you let yourself get there through doing something like this and having that reflection. So this hero story activity can be very helpful to help just put ourselves in that positive mindset and see what our possibilities are, see what we could accomplish. Because here at Premier Performance, we're trying to help people reach the highest highs and be the best they can be. But as we'll talk about later, if you can't visualize it, if you can't see it in any way, it's really hard to actually reach that goal and create that reality and make it real. So we got to put ourselves out there and we got to try our best to actually face these things and see what it looks like to be in that spot that we want to be in. Do you ever wonder why you self-sabotage? I know this is a hot topic that a lot of people talk about. It comes up a lot, but the main thing is self-sabotage is typically connected to the narrative we live our life by. That narrative we live our life by is in control of so much. It impacts our belief system about ourselves and the world around us, the people in the world, how others may act, what we may have opportunities to do, what we may not. And we do have a lot of narratives in our life that lead to self-sabotage because we are limiting ourselves or restricting ourselves, whether that be because of things that we've gone through before, failures or struggles that we face, whether that be narratives that we've been given from others that we can't do this thing or this isn't for us or anything else it may be. And oftentimes when we feel that our narrative isn't aligned with the life we're living, we kind of tear some stuff down and tear ourselves down to get back to that point of feeling like it's aligned again. And that's really what we call self-sabotage, that we are going back to a comfort that used to feel good to us. It just, from the outside in, is us destroying stuff. But if we actually think about what's happening here, that we're really trying to realign our life with the narrative that we live our life by, it actually kind of makes a lot of sense. So we have to ask ourselves, what narrative are we living our life by? And are we possibly self-sabotaging ourselves because we haven't let ourselves believe that we can be more than we are now? This story we tell, the narrative, it can impact our behavior and how we navigate the world and our lives in various different ways. This is a hugely impactful piece and it hits on so many different areas, whether it's our career, it's our relationships, it's our personal development, it's our hobbies, it's what we do for fun, it's our passions, everything. It really doesn't not hit a spot. So we got to be aware of this narrative and we can't keep it in the background and forget about it and just let it play. We got to be mindful of what we're feeding it and what we want it to be and what we want it to look like as we move forward in our life, taking steps forward. Our story is not stuck in stone. It is still being written, and we can change these things. This is the power of experiential situations, putting yourself through something and learning. We see this a lot in movies and TV shows of people putting themselves through something they never thought they could go through, giving it a shot, taking a risk, and then learning from it, growing from it, having something kind of come out of it, and maybe even looking at themselves in a different light. It can be kind of cool to go through these experiences because we are really great at learning from experiences. That's why I want to talk about this piece first. Because even if we have a story that is written so far that isn't helpful for the life we want to live, go out there and have experiences changing that, going against that tide, changing that narrative up and showing yourself that that may be the way I have lived my life up to this point, but this does not have to be the way I continue to live my life. We also can learn from watching others experience or being taught differently. It doesn't have to be us directly doing it. We can watch others doing it. You can learn from what others are doing. That can be really powerful. You see this with documentaries, podcasts such as ourselves, YouTube episodes that you might really enjoy, interactions with other people, seeing how people are living their life, like friends, mentors, people you look up to. So learning through others can help a lot too, and it can change that story. It kind of goes back to cliff jumping. I used to go cliff jumping a lot when I was younger. I haven't done it so much lately. I do it every once in a while, but not nearly as much. And the biggest thing for me with cliff jumping is I would kind of be one of the first to go, but I never wanted to be the specific first person to do it. And the reason for that, especially at like a new spot that I haven't like done before, is I would want someone else to jump first, to jump off a cliff into water of some sort. And it was safe. We'd always check the bottom and, don't do reckless things. Make sure you're safe. But seeing someone else do it would often give me the courage to do it. Because if I saw one person do it and they were totally fine, it was like, okay, well, if they can do it, I can do it. It's humanly possible, so I can do this too. In a lot of ways, that narrative has kind of been there throughout my life. That if I see people able to do things, I kind of have this mindset of like, why couldn't I do that too? So if there are things you want to do, watch others do it too. And if you see them find that success and do these things in successful ways, it might give you the motivation or even some how to get there yourself. And you might find that these things you do want to be in this ideal version of you that you would like to unlock can be unlocked if you just keep an eye on what others are doing and what's possible. Because the second we know that something's possible, we tend to do it a whole lot easier. I mean, you see this with the mile. When they were trying to break the world record for how fast you could run the mile, they never thought someone would break the 5 minute mark. But then eventually somebody did, and it just kept happening, like back to back to back. Like they just needed one person to do it, and then the second it was possible, it kind of unlocked this mentality for a lot of other people, and they were able to do it too. We can do a lot more than we think. We just hold ourselves back with our mind. That's why we're creating this premier mindset so we don't get held back by our mind. Trauma is another one that can really impact our story and our narrative. When we go through trauma, it kind of puts this heightened alert in our body and our nervous system of look out for that thing. Don't go through that thing again because it's dangerous. And it's a very evolutionarily helpful thing because it helps us stay safe. It helps us survive. It helps us avoid danger. But sometimes the things it's trying to make us avoid are things that we need in our life to be successful. And it actually gets in the way. And, if any of you have dealt with trauma in your life, you've probably felt this before. Because trauma can be very impactful, but it can also be very disruptive. And it can cause a lot of issues, and we can try and hide out and isolate and walk away from situations that can cause bigger problems for ourselves if we're not careful. So we got to be really aware of trauma that we're going through and dealing with it, because if not, it might start impacting and infecting that story of ours and start turning it into something we don't want it to be. And it can create some toxicity in our life that doesn't get out very easily, and we got to make sure to try and stop it from the beginning, because if it gets in there and it starts to solidify, it's a little harder to get out. It's easier to do it the sooner it's there. Another thing that really impacts the story we live our life by is just positive moments in general, whether that be through experiential situations or just having a good time. Like when things work out for us, it does change how we feel about things. It does motivate us to do more of it. It's a great motivator to pursue more. So those positive moments, we really want to soak them up and enjoy them and be very mindful in that moment to really digest that positive moment in a way that's going to help us move forward. And if you're struggling with any of these things and you're not sure how to even get these experiential situations, or maybe the trauma's too in depth and it's hard to get out of and you're just struggling with it and it's limiting you, I mean, we can also explore the therapy processes to get through this stuff, whether that be talk therapy, that be different therapy processes or tools like EMDR or IFS or anything else. And we got all sorts of other tools out there as well, um, such as like medication or electric stimulation, magnetic stimulation, like all these kind of things that do impact the brain and change up how we're viewing things. This stuff can have a pretty impactful place in our life and what we're trying to do to get these things going. And you can even see this in stuff like ketamine therapy too. So explore what's out there if you feel stuck and you're not knowing how to get out of it, or if you're just not sure how to change that story up. These things can be really powerful and really help if you feel like you need it. And if you're not sure, you can always ask me too, and I can give you a little heads up of what might be helpful. I can point you in a direction. I just want to be a resource to you guys. Don't be afraid to reach out if you do have a question about any of this stuff. I know it can be really confusing to try and navigate. Going further with this, procrastination is an infection that can kill any dream. I talk with high achievers leaning on the pressure of consequences to get things done, and you can break that habit altogether. One thing you can focus on to ward off procrastination is optimism. If we can view tasks being successful, through that visualization, seeing it all work out, seeing ourselves reach these goals, reach these levels that we didn't think we would reach before, it can cause ourselves to get to work sooner. Often we have found that procrastination helps because we're looking at the thing as a threat, whether it's we don't want to do the thing, or we're worried about how it may go, we're worried it may not give us the results we want. So we kind of just push it off and say, I'll do it later. And oftentimes we wait to actually get to the work until there's some consequence coming up, whether it's a due date or there's a situation that's going to get much worse if it doesn't get done by this Friday or whatever it is. And if we're living our life trying to reach success by holding on to the consequences to get things done, it's going to be really hard, and you're going to be feeling like you're sitting on the edge of your seat all the time, and that's going to burn you out at a certain point. If we can be optimistic that this stuff's going to go well and it may be easier than you think, or you may enjoy it a little more than you think, there's more of a likelihood you're going to get to work and start doing it now. And procrastination is an infection. It does start to spread to other things. It does start to spread to other people on our team. So we have to be aware of this, and we got to keep in mind culture comes from the top down. So if you're leading a team and you're doing things, you have to put yourself in a spot to ward off that procrastination. Otherwise, you're going to start seeing it in your own team because they will copy some of your habits without even realizing it themselves. EMDR is another great one that you can use with this, but that's direct work with clients that we're going to tailor around them specifically. You can do it in a group setting. It's just a little more complicated, and I like doing these things a little more individual, tailored one-on-one, because I just feel like you get more out of it. So there, again, is more therapy processes you can use to really take advantage of this stuff and get to a place of premier performance, but we're going to have to also take advantage of these other things coming with it, such as visualization, the way we're looking at stuff, setting ourselves up for success in general. So keep that in mind. Try and look towards that optimism, especially if you struggle with procrastination. It may do a whole lot more than you think. I know it sounds simple, but sometimes simple things really do work. Our story can also impact our relationships in a lot of ways. The narratives we create about our lives, both for ourselves and others, significantly impact our relationship by shaping our perceptions, communication, and overall connection with others. Positive narratives foster empathy and intimacy, while negative narratives can lead to disconnection and conflict. So these stories we live our life by can set our relationships up for success or failure kind of from the start. And it doesn't mean that whatever narrative we have going into it, that's just what it's going to be forever. But it does also mean that we got to be aware of it because it is going to play a role. So we have to be willing to do the work if we need to do the work. If we're realizing there's problems and issues and things aren't working out the way we need them to, we got to do something different. We can't just keep powering ahead doing the same thing. And I've seen a lot of people do it. It just gets worse. It's not worth it. Take the chance to do the change and do the hard work. I know it sucks. We don't want to go back and do work like this. We just want to move forward. I get it. And if that was the answer, I would tell you guys that's the answer. But it's not. You can kind of keep this quote in mind that I like to think about. Easy now, hard later. Hard now, easy later. Do the hard thing now. Get it out of the way. Have the easy show up later. We get so caught up living in short-term comfort in our lives, and it doesn't lead us to the goals that we have, and it doesn't lead us to the dreams that we have. And the premier mindset is all about reaching those dreams and not falling behind and losing out on that success that you want to have in your life. You can reach it. You just have to help yourself see it and help yourself do the work to get there. The narrative people live by significantly impacts their success. It shapes their mindset, actions, and ability to achieve their goals in a few different ways. The first one is by shaping identity and self-perception. A personal narrative, a story of experiences, beliefs, and values forms the foundation of our identity. It's the core of who we are. It influences how people see themselves, their abilities, and their potential. If we don't believe we can be at that level, we're not going to get there. This is why you see athletes and people at these high levels of performance that say stuff like, I am the greatest, or I can do anything, or I'm the best businessman out there, because they're setting themselves up to reach that potential by believing in it before it has happened. And it can feel weird to do that. We're kind of setting ourselves up for something that hasn't happened yet, but we have to prepare ourselves. It's like getting ready to launch. We got to get that ready launch. And once we're ready, we can go after the things we want and have a higher likelihood of reaching it. Conversely, negative or limiting narratives can create self-doubt and hinder personal growth, and it can sometimes cause people to pull themselves out of situations or opportunities that could actually lead to growth or benefiting them in some way. And really, that's a tragedy. We got to be careful of that. That's going to cause a lot of issues and a lot of problems. Another aspect of this is how it influences our beliefs and attitudes. The stories people internalize can reinforce positive traits and empower them to overcome obstacles. They can also perpetuate negative patterns that hold people back. Narrative influences how people interpret events and form opinions, shaping their worldview. So if you have something go wrong, maybe your boss takes you in and criticizes your work on a recent project and says it wasn't good enough, it's kind of a failure, we got to do something different, we got to change this up. You got two ways you can look at this. I mean, you can look at it in a lot of different ways, but I'm going to focus on two. First one is, a positive mindset, positive belief system, which would be, okay, didn't work out how I want, that sucks, but this gives me a chance to figure this out and get better at this thing. And moving forward, it will lead to more success because I'll now know how to deal with this thing and I will handle this situation better. And it gives me a chance to deal with, criticism or being told that something isn't working out and kind of overcoming that failure. That's that growth mindset. We're going to grow from that. We're going to come from that and lead to better things because that's going to build us up. It's not going to break us down. Looking at it as a challenge versus a threat. The other side of this would be if we look at it from that negative, state of mind, that negative belief system of I can't do anything right. Everything I do just doesn't work out. I'm just a failure and I don't know why they keep me around. I'm just going to keep causing problems. If you have that mindset going into this when you just got criticized on your project and you got to go back and work on it again, how do you think that's going to work out? It's not going to go good, right? You're not going to have the answers you think. You're not going to reach that final goal of getting this thing done because you've already limited and restricted yourself up and set yourself up for failure because you believe in that failure already. And more likely than not, our belief systems do impact our likelihood of success or failure. I mean, it's the placebo effect. This is a piece that literally can create effects in our body by what we're believing. It can directly impact the work that we can output as well. So if you're going to look at it from that negative state of mind, it's going to go probably negatively. It can go well. Sometimes we get lucky. Sometimes we're more talented than we give ourselves credit for, and we still get past these things, even with the restrictions. But it's a whole lot easier and it's a whole lot lighter if you take that weight off your back and you let yourself just be positive and look at this stuff as being a growth opportunity and not something that's breaking you down. Our narrative also directs choices and actions. The story people tell themselves acts as an engine and fuel for their habits and choices. This could be our self-care, taking care of ourselves, that our body matters, that we do deserve good things, that I could have the body I want, or I could have the relationship I want, or I could have the job I want. A strong narrative can motivate people to pursue their goals. It helps people set realistic goals by providing a nuanced understanding of what it takes to achieve them. It helps us understand what we need to do to get where we need to go. Because if we're not realistic about how to get there, that's not going to help us either. And it's not saying we can't get there. We just got to be realistic of the way to get there. We got to be realistic of the goals to get there. If we set goals that aren't possible, you're going to set yourself up for that failure and you're going to run into a lot of it. We got to set up goals that are going to help us get things done. And this belief about ourselves is going to fuel the habits and choices that we make in our everyday life. It goes back to another quote. How you do something is how you do everything. Because the way you do one thing is going to be how you do kind of everything. Because you're taking in your belief system, your mindset, your abilities. And if you really take your time and make sure you're doing a good job and working thoroughly on this project, that's a good indicator that that's what you're going to do for everything else in your life too. If you're always quickly moving through things, brushing stuff off, ignoring things, taking shortcuts, well, that's a good idea of how you're going to handle other things as well. We got to be aware of how this stuff is impacting us on a daily basis and that what we're doing every day impacts our life as a whole because it's all building on each other. This stuff is a collection of who we are based on what we've been through. So we have to be aware of what we're doing every day because every day is an investment into you. Is it going to be a good investment or a bad investment? That's your choice. It also impacts our mental well-being. Research suggests a strong link between life stories and mental health. Narratives with themes of cohesion, agency, redemption are associated with positive mental health outcomes. Conversely, people with contamination stories where positive experiences are tainted by negative outcomes tend to be more anxious and depressed. And this is where trauma can be a big part of it, because we can go through trauma and it can change that narrative, change that story to help us live with that trauma. That's a very normal thing that happens. It's not bad. But we can't let it stay there. Our body might put us there to help us survive what we had to go through, but once we're through it, we got to help get ourselves back now. Now we got to help ourselves heal. And there is a lot of ways to do that. And if you're struggling with it, reach out to somebody and see what you can do. There is help available. There is a lot of resources out there. Sometimes we just got to look around. But don't get stuck and live in that anxiety and depression. We want to get you guys out of this stuff. We want you guys to have, these positive outcomes that you're looking for in your life. Life is hard enough. We got to make it easier for ourselves. And we can start with just working for us by ourselves. We don't have to do a big thing with a lot of people in our lives. It can just be us personally. In essence, personal narratives are more than just recounting of the past. They're a dynamic blueprint that shapes identity and future. By understanding the power of narrative and actively engaging with it, people can unlock resilience, transformation, deeper connections, ultimately setting themselves on a path towards a more fulfilling and successful life. People are the authors of their stories and have the power to choose and rewrite them to empower themselves and to achieve their potential. So don't hold back. Put that pen to the paper and change the story. Don't just accept it if you don't like it. You can change the story you live by. And yes, it takes work. And yes, it might be hard. But anything worthwhile is hard and it takes time. So do the hard thing now and make it easier for future you. Invest in you in the right way. And you're going to be really glad you did it. You're going to be grateful for it in the future. You're setting yourself up for a future that works for you, not against you. We don't need to pull ourselves through life. We can let it kind of feel like a nice slide that we can just enjoy on the ride down. So let yourself get into this, do the work you need to do, and set up that blueprint to shape your identity and future in a way that you want it to be. Take control. Don't just accept what life is going to give you. We tend to own the narrative, even if it is given to us by others. We don't have to always create these things ourselves. Have you ever been told you're a cheater, a loser, a drug addict, or a problem, and you heard it so much that you just submitted to it and gave in to being that very thing? That's super common. When somebody's told something constantly by people in their life that they are something, they end up embodying that role. Part of this goes back to who we are as people, because we have this kind of tribal aspect of us, and we are very impacted by other people. We're social animals. So when other people say things or make observations about things, we take it on. We may not take on all of them. We may not take on every single one of them. But especially if we keep hearing it, and we keep hearing it from trusted people or close people in our life, at some point we might start accepting it of, okay, that might just be who I am then. And if we embody that role, we're going to start acting on it, even if we weren't before. I see this a lot with people that are unfairly accused of cheating. Because once they get unfairly accused of cheating, if it constantly happens, sometimes that partner looks at it of, okay, why try to be different than who I am? If this is just who I am and what I'm going to be seen as, I'm going to just be this. This is who I'm going to be. And they actually go out of their way and go cheat. They self-sabotage. They realign that narrative with their life. They may not be doing that thing, but they keep being fed this narrative that you are this thing. So they self-sabotage and they realign that thing in their life. And now all of a sudden they work together again. You said I am a cheater, and I am a cheater. I did go cheat. So that can happen a lot. And we got to be careful of what we are throwing on other people, especially if it's coming from our own trauma, right? That's where a lot of this happens. And I'm not saying it happens every time. There are people going out there cheating and doing things they shouldn't do. But a lot of times you'll see somebody that has a trauma of cheating in their past, and they get so worried and so hypervigilant that there's going to be cheating in their current relationship, even if it's never happened, that they'll keep throwing that accusation out. And sometimes it can actually lead to that partner starting to cheat, because they get to this point of, if I'm going to be blamed for it, I might as well at least make it true. We kind of do this to ourselves a lot, because it does feel like this anxiety when we aren't living aligned with the narrative that we are accepting at that time. We don't have to accept that narrative from others, even if they're tossing it on to us over and over again. And sometimes that can be a powerful thing too, is just being aware when someone else is trying to feed us a narrative, that you can reject it and take care of you first and not get caught up in it. We want to keep looking for the positive in life. It's literally gold for your health. When a stressful situation is perceived as a threat, health and well-being suffer. We've talked about this before with looking at things as challenges versus threats. If you look at something as a challenge and a growth opportunity, you will grow from it. Even if it goes terribly, you will get something from it. But if you look at it as a threat, you will get broken down by it. And it's going to give you problems. It's going to give you issues. It's going to give you things that you don't want. So go get that gold. Look for the positives. And I know it's hard to do sometimes, but if you can hold yourself to the habits and the behaviors of living the life you want to live, reaching that pure peak performance, that's going to help you feel good. That's going to help you with your mental health and your physical health in terms of well-being. Don't look at things as threats. It's going to break you down, and it's not fair to you. It's not going to help in the long run. The story we live by can literally create more mental health issues in our lives. There's a study that looked at teens and how they viewed their homes, and teens who view their homes as more chaotic than their siblings who both lived in the same household, nothing different, they're both in the same place, led to having poorer mental health in adulthood. Adolescents who view their household as more unstructured, disorganized, or hectic than their siblings develop more mental health and behavioral problems early in adulthood, according to research. That's huge because it's not even saying that the situation needs to be different. It's how we're looking at the situation, how we interpret the situation, what narrative we take from the thing that we're in. These things aren't necessarily like full, consistent things of like, if you live in unstructured and disorganized or hectic, it's going to be bad, but it can set it up for more likelihood of bad. So we want to be aware of not doing that purposely. We want to set up a good structure to feel like we can grow in, just like a good environment for a garden to grow. But at the same time, we want to keep in mind that that isn't the be all end all. That the environment could be not so great and you still could do totally fine and you can grow from it. It's about how we perceive these things, how we're taking these things on, and how it changes the narrative of how we're looking at life. Another study looking at how we interact and change what we're doing based on what other people are doing, kind of that group think type situation, found that watching others' biased behavior unconsciously creates prejudice in us. This comes from our desire to mirror others. We're social animals. We literally have mirror neurons in our brain to help us mirror other people so we can connect. Because when we mirror people, it's easier to create connections and create like a community. So with that tribalism part of us kind of creates this idea of going along with the flow of things. And this is how you see in situations where things get really bad really quickly and you're like, how did no one say stop? How did no one do anything? Because we can get caught up in the flow of it of I just want to be accepted. I want to be in the in group. I'm going to do the same things that they're doing because our brain and our body is literally set up to give into that. We are set up to pick sides. We are set up to morph into that group and what they're doing, especially if we see the majority group doing something to a minority group. So we have to be aware of our values and not falling victim to that unless we're okay with it and it does work out for us. And if we are feeling extra vulnerable on that day, we got to keep in mind that you're going to fall into that a little bit easier. And just be mindful of your own actions and behaviors and the narratives you're living life by and what you're feeling yourself. We also want to reflect on our own narrative. What have you been telling yourself that you no longer want to believe? You can change your life by changing how you view it all. Do the work. Be who you want to be and don't fear success and the path to it. Embrace it and own it. Before you know it, with enough time, success will show up and then you can show others how to get there, lead by example, and take the first step. I know it's hard doing this stuff, and I know there's things holding us back that terrify us. The reason I push you guys is because I know you can handle it, and I want you guys to do this work because it will be worthwhile in the end run. And you will be very grateful to yourself if you do it now. So reflect where you are and reflect what you want to keep with you and what you don't. Find out what you're willing to get rid of and leave behind you as you move forward in your life and what things you want more of or what things you want to go after. And when you're getting to these places and doing these things, you will see people start to look up to you because this stuff is hard. And they'll want to know how you did it. So show them, lead them, help them, support others get to where we're trying to get to too. A rising tide lifts all boats. Don't look at someone else trying to reach success as a threat to your success because it's not. We can't all be successful together. Anything that's beneficial to the group is going to be beneficial to the individual. So try and help yourself, put yourself out there in the community and help others and lead by example and show them how they can get there themselves. It's going to feel good for you, and then you're creating a connection and a bond that may help you down the road in a way you never thought it could. Invest in you, invest in your future, set yourself up for success, live the life you want to live, and don't be afraid of the story you tell. Because if we change that and set that up for that premier mindset, you're going to go reach that premier performance, and you're going to be so glad you did. There's nothing that feels good like peak performance in our life. So find that success, reach these goals, don't be afraid of it, and embrace the struggle. You will grow from it, you will get stronger going through it. We can't just live in our comfort zone. We got to get out of it, and we got to change things up. We can't just get caught up living in the consistency of what we have been doing, and we got to stop self-sabotaging in our life and help ourselves realign with a new narrative in our life. So let's set that up. Let's see how that goes. Use that in your life and see if you can set yourself up for success you've been looking for. Recognition is the first step. If you don't know you're doing these things, it's really hard to stop it. So let's see what we're doing. Let's see how this is impacting us. Let's be aware of how we're living our life and how we're investing in it. And let's set you up for a better one. Share this episode if you got anything beneficial from it. If you thought it was helpful, that would be awesome. That would help us out. We're just trying to expand our reach and get this to as many people as we can. And send it to people specifically that you think could benefit from it. A lot of people want help. They're just not sure where to get it from. They're also scared to ask. So just send it somewhere. You don't have to say a bunch about it. You don't have to go into some deep conversation about it. You could just say, heard this thing, thought of you, you might like it. Send it their way, see what they think. And they could never open it. That's fine. They don't have to. But just the fact that you put it there, you put that seed there, it may turn into nothing, but it could grow into something beautiful. And they could check it out, and they could start on a journey that changes their whole life. And you could be that change for them. You never know. So put resources out there for people. Give them things if you think it might be helpful for them. That's what I'm trying to do, and making it a point to give you guys actionable tools because I want you to find success in your life, and I want to know how it's going. I like knowing about the stories and the updates and hearing how these things are working and the struggles you're running into. And I like helping directly, which is why I'd say, reach out if you have questions, comment on posts, send me messages, whatever you want to do. I'm willing to help out and answer your questions however I can. I just want to be a resource to you guys. So don't be afraid to take advantage of it and reach out to me. I'm not going to, be mean or shoot you down or reject you in any way. I just want to help. So don't be afraid to reach out and get that help and get what you need. And if you do have anything you want, there's a lot of ways you can reach out. You can email me at tmailer@premierperformancereno.com. My last name spelled Mahler. You can text or call me directly at 775-561-0056. We also have Instagram and TikTok with the same name, Premier_Performance_Reno. And then the Facebook and the LinkedIn page, which is the same name as well, Premier Performance LLC. So check us out. Follow us on all these. If you have any questions, reach out through any of these avenues. And if I don't respond, reach out again. You're not ignoring me, and I'm not ignoring you. I just may not have seen it, or it may have gotten lost somewhere. So please reach out. I do want to help. And if you don't hear anything back, just keep reaching out and blow me up. I'll let you know if it's a problem. I promise. Next week, we're going to get into a new topic, which is a little complex, but I think it's going to be really helpful. It's called psychoneuroimmunology. And some of you may have never heard that word before. And what this is a department of science that focuses on how the psychology is impacted by the neurology, which is also impacted by immunology in our body. So our psychology, the way we're thinking, the neurology, what's going on in the brain, and the immune system in the body and how we're handling things. Okay? So all of this is combined into one kind of area of thought, and that's what we're going to dive into. We're going to dive into some research and what it is, what it looks like, and just how impactful and how connected our brain and our body is, and how it can set us up for things feeling good and feeling bad pretty quickly. And this might be helpful for taking care of our physical health or even getting some things done with our physical health, but it's also going to help us understand our mental health and setting ourselves up for success to help both our body and our mind feel good. So that's going to be a fun topic. I'm excited to get into that with you guys. If you have any questions about that before we get to it, you let me know. But we'll get into that next week, and we'll keep going. New episodes drop every Sunday, and we're just going to keep adding on top of all of this. Go do the best you can. Put yourself out there. Take the emotional risks. Be vulnerable. Be yourself. And if there is anything I can do to help you on your journey, don't be afraid to reach out. Do it now. It's best to get started and jump on the flame when it's there while it's hot. Don't let it go out. Don't let it extinguish. And I want you guys to go be successful, reach that peak performance, have a lot of fun while you're doing it, and just enjoy life in general. Life is too hard and complicated for it to be just struggle and stress all the time. We got to have some fun and enjoy ourselves. So go do you. Go have a great time. I will see you soon, and we're going to keep working together. And I hope you have a good one.